Well guys, this is the 2004 Honda Element and it is ready. It is one of the coolest little Hondas you can possibly get. You know, just like Jeeps are sought after, these little Honda Elements are sought after. And this one, the big issue is the rust in the frame. So that's kind of like a big downside, because this was a New York car. So New York, they get some damage underneath, but it's drivable. It's a decent car, and the best thing about this particular one is that the body is just in really good shape, and it's got new tires, and it only has 118,000 miles. It's kind of rare to find Honda Elements with less than 200,000 miles in the market. My favorite, of course, is the kiwi green Honda Element, and I'm trying to find one in kiwi green. I think that's the best color, but I also like the white one. It's not white, it's like a cream, and I think it's called sand. So, you know, the reason Honda stopped making this is because Honda had very low sales, and because they had their CR-V platform, the CR-V was much more popular than this one. This has become kind of a cult car, and it's something that you would not expect from a SUV, but that's because they ended the production run already, I think in 2011, and it started its production run in 2003. The 2003s, there's a lot of silver ones. Those are the Honda Elements that were most sold, the silver Honda Elements. And the first and second year, this is the second year, 2004, these were booming times for Honda. I believe that's when they sold the most of the Element, and then it started to kind of die off. I think they missed their mark when it came to the market for this car, but only recently they started to get the audience that they really wanted, which were people in their 20s who were active, who wanted a car to take to the beach and to do camping. This is it. This is a successful Pontiac Aztek. And what I like about it too is that it's an SUV, it's all-wheel drive, and it looks cute at the same time, but yet looks rugged. And I think Honda does that a lot with their cars. They make things very eccentric looking, and this, when it first came out, I mean, this stood out because it was a box. It was essentially a box going through the air. That's why the miles per gallon are kind of bad on it. I think it's 20 to 24, which is, I guess, is not bad for something this big, this tall, and this boxy. But I think it missed its mark, and now it's coming back, and people are just demanding that they bring back the Honda Element. And yeah, I kind of wish they did bring the Honda Element, but I don't know. Honda does have this reputation for bringing back popular vehicles despite their sales numbers, so it's very possible. But you shouldn't believe all the news articles saying, oh, 2021 is going to be the Honda Element revival. It's going to come out with a new platform, and it might be possible, but if that was the case, Honda will announce it themselves. It's not going to be a weird website that has a new one, and it's not going to be Scotty Kilmer talking about how the Honda Element's coming back next year. So if they did bring it back, it would probably have been already in 2020. But chances are that Honda will bring this thing back, because they do have this reputation for bringing back older cars that have been kind of cult-like. And the Honda Element is probably the only SUV I know of that is very cult-like. I know that they have motorcycles that are very desirable, but cars, you know, you see the Honda Civic, and that's really sought after. You see the Honda CRX, you see the Honda Accord, which starts to trail off a little bit. But this one, people want it. This is still a car that's very difficult to get. And I think the only reason it's difficult to get is because they made so little of them, and people are starting to get more into the whole van life, van dwelling, and this is a car that is perfect for van dwelling. It's big without being grotesquely large. It's cute and it blends in the city. You wouldn't give it a second take unless you're a Honda Element connoisseur. So let's look around. So as you guys know or don't know, the Honda Element is a suicide door style. So that is, this door only opens, or this door only opens if this one is open. So if you have kids, they can't come out. And this is a 4-seater only. Kind of a downside if you have a large family. But this is a clamshell. Once you shut that door and you shut this door, this is very rigid. It's a very rigid structure. So you're not going to get into accidents and be damaged. They're very secure. These Honda Elements are very, very durable. The engine, of course, is one of these things that they're well known for. It's the 4-cylinder engine in a lot of their cars, like Honda Accords. Very durable. I think it's the 2.4 engine. It's a fantastic little engine, very simple. A lot of parents get this car for their kids because it is a slow vehicle and it's very safe. And at the same time, it still has a coolness factor, which is kind of rare in cars. This one has a different cloth than most Hondas. This one's in very good shape in the interior, but the driver's side is always in bad shape. And then, of course, this was used for work, so you start to get some blemishes here. People do use these for work, bringing in lumber and putting like things on it, so it kind of damages things around. But these things are not incredibly expensive to get, so if you wanted to bring it back to perfection, it's easy enough. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't use it as a work truck. You know, this is a sought-after vehicle now, and I think a lot of people that owned this originally didn't realize it was going to be such a cult car. But I have encountered people that have had 2, 3 Elements in the family. So window only opens like this. It's not a roll down window at all. I actually like this. If you're camping, it lets in some breeze. You have this that opens like an SUV, and if you're like getting dressed after a hard day's mountain bike ride, you can kind of just get shelter from the rain here. It's kind of a clever design. But then you have this. Push this, and you have a tailgate. So this is why this is a great camper. This is why this thing is perfect for camping. You can come out here, sit in the tailgate, you know, have your lunch here. You can put your mountain bike, skis, snowboard, whatever inside, and you can see the seats are up in the up position, so this gives you a lot of space to carry cargo. I mean, this is really large, and this is a small car. When you consider the length of it, the length of this car is actually shorter than the Prius and the Accord and Camrys. It's actually shorter, but visually it looks bigger because it's such a tall cube, and I think a lot of people don't realize it. You can fit a full-size motorcycle in here. I have put very large motorcycles in Elements. The largest was a Zero S, but I put various scooters and stuff like that. My Yamaha 10-Ray would never fit here. I have a spare tire underneath here. I think one of the cool things that I really like is that if you take this to the beach or something, you can just have this completely open, get the airflow inside this car. You can be relaxing. There's so much light in here. It's awesome. So to get the seat down, very interesting contraption. It's this up, and you let it down. This, boom. You have a seat, and look at this, beautiful. You have a sunroof back here, and people wonder why the hell did they put a sunroof in the back and not in the front. Well, and the reason is because when you're camping, you can put your head back there as you're like laying down, and you can look up at the stars. Or better yet, you can actually remove that itself, and you can say change your clothes while standing up. Say you're coming back from a dirt ride, you can stand up, put your pants on. It's perfect for that. So very easy contraption. So I'm gonna do this one. The seats back here are in excellent shape. They do have cup holders and everything. The driver's side, very simple. You notice there's a crack in the windscreen, but you know, most of the Elements I've gotten have had some sort of like cracks in the windscreen. It's because how flat it is. You know, one of the things that you're going to notice when you're driving this is that because it's so cavernous inside here, you hear a lot of road noise. And remember, this was kind of like a budget SUV at the time. So a lot of the parts are made out of plastic. It's not made to be a luxury car. So a lot of people that look at this, they think it's something that it's not. It's not like a Honda Accord with plush suspension. It does feel a little budget. There are kits to kind of lift it up. There are kits to, you know, even like lower it. They even made a special version of the Honda Element called the SC. And that one is difficult to get. It has carpeting inside, but I prefer the regular one. I definitely prefer this one over the SC version. But this one's kind of fantastic. It's very desired. And if you look online, the prices are just always climbing up and up because Honda is not bringing it back anytime soon. Unfortunately, people really like the idea of having Honda Elements coming, but they haven't been announced. And because this thing was not a big seller and the market was supposed to be for selling high volumes of this car, it just missed its mark. So I'm not sure Honda wants to go through the trouble again, because they do have the Pilot, they do have the CR-V, and there are other options from other makers like the RAV4. There's all sorts of cars, and I mean, this thing is awesome just for the uniqueness of the suicide door. This is probably the most practical vehicle I've ever seen. It really is. It's one of the most practical cars that you can get, and unfortunately you can't get them anymore. They're just becoming rare. They're unicorns, but people love them. If you want to check out owners that really like them, check out Honda Element owners on Facebook. They really love these things, and you know, I did remove some parts that I'll be selling independently, but let's go ahead and start this thing. Oh yeah, one thing that you're going to see on these Honda Elements is that the seat tends to break all the time. This one does have lumbar support, but it's not exactly perfect. The thing starts right up. Very simple. Now, I have my handbrake off, but if you can look, I have my brake light on, maintenance required, 118,000 miles, seatbelt on, ABS is on. So not a perfect specimen of Element, but this thing does drive like it's a Honda. Very reliable, very easy to live with, and I really love it. It's my favorite Honda. You know, it's my favorite Honda ever made, along with some other things but that Honda made. I really think they do a great job making cult-like cars. And the exhaust also has a broken pipe, and this thing is quiet. I'm surprised that it doesn't make that much more noise than it should. Well guys, that is the Honda Element from 2004, and it's one of these cars that I think people are really starting to get into and modifying and driving cross country. Some people contacted me about this car and they want it because they want to drive cross country and live in it. And that's exactly what the Honda Element was meant to be. It's like an adventure mobile, an adventure affordable car for people who like just to get out there and live life instead of paying for things they don't need. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.